shelter, the love that covers me from my head down to my feet. Brought the only light in my darkest day. You are my run, run, run away. You are the shelter, the love that covers me from my head down to my feet. Brought the only light in my darkest day. You are my run, run, run away. Brought the frozen in time. Been looking for a love that never dies. Oh, do you know that I would cross the ocean, guided by the stars up in the sky? I'll never let you down, we can't be broken, just like a flame that never dies. I'll never let you down, we can't be broken, just like a flame that never dies. When I fell down, you picked me up and turned my luck around. Oh, high off the ground, I know we can't escape the love we found. Oh, do you know that I would cross the ocean, guided by the stars up in the sky? I'll never let you down, we can't be broken, just like a flame that never dies. I'll never let you down. I'll never let you down. We can't be broken, just like a flame that never dies.
Yo, yo. What up, everybody? You always know when the calm music comes and know we're about to start. Alright. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We've got quite a lot of stuff to cover today. So, yeah. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. Hopefully, hopefully you're either sidelined or long. Hopefully you're definitely, you weren't short for all this. Otherwise you're down horrendous. Yeah, the classic dump. Every time I go live, volatility always comes through. Normally we dump, every now and then we'll go up, but most of the time we dump. Don't worry, it wasn't me market selling all my longs or anything. Don't worry. Okay, so hold my little notepad. Hopefully I don't have the wrong notepad open. Okay. So Not gonna do anything too crazy today. Just gonna run through kind of a standard stream that we would normally run through. Spend a lot of time on Bitcoin, covering plans, positioning. We're gonna do a little lesson around how to handle having missed moves, because you know, unfortunately, I imagine some of the viewers are definitely going to be in that boat, and you need to not, you know, beat yourself up about it. So we're gonna spend a little time on how to deal with that. Take a look at ETH, because I've been ignoring ETH for a while. We'll do a shitcoin scan where basically I'll look at the altcoins I'm interested in, and then you guys can throw tickers in the chat and we'll take a look at it, and we'll pretty much swing it from there like we normally do. We'll try to weave some education into the analysis wherever we can. But yeah, I did miss last week. I just wasn't feeling up for it. I just woke up and was like, nah, not doing that. And, you know, I have that luxury these days, not having a boss. I can, you know, I'm kind of a workaholic, so I'm pretty much stick to my schedule as anyways, but, you know, it's nice to be able to wake up and say, nah, I'm not doing that today. So, again, hopefully everyone's doing well. I'm going to catch up with chat for a minute, and then we'll get going. I'm just getting settled in here for a second. The traditional MAGA stream market dump, of course. Capo isn't in the chat. Some sources have told me that he capitulated. If that's true, that's hilarious, because that means he probably capitulated at a local high. You know, even if we're going to trend higher, the top is probably in for the short term, I would imagine, but I'll cover that in detail momentarily. Must be in the wrong place, came for the CS gamer. Yeah, I'm officially a Counter-Strike streamer now. Yeah, just so you guys know, my Twitch stream is going to be for gaming only for the time being, and we're going to stick with YouTube being the serious place as it stands. Been really enjoying playing Counter-Strike. Catching you live, LFG. Welcome, Switch, welcome. All the Swifties in the chat hit the like. What the fuck is a Swiftie? Yeah, do follow that note. Thank you, Lear. If you guys could do me a favor and press the like button, it does help out a lot with the YouTube algo. We're trying to scam the YouTube algo into getting into the recommended page for people. Thoughts on the iShares news being fake? You're talking about the coin telegraph thing. I can cover that when we get into the Bitcoin outlook. I mean, I don't know what there is to really say about that. You got some fake news. It's definitely not the first time we've had a moment like that. Definitely had several instances where there's fake reporting, where either people were just idiots, or you know, straight up like fraud, where people hack people's accounts or SIM swap, and then, I mean, you could just never mind. We won't go too far into that. We've definitely had a lot of events like the fake ETF news, but it didn't really matter, right? Because I mean, price held up afterwards and traded a lot higher, so. Yeah, but we can cover that once we get to it in the chart. This is the load up pump. I don't know if you want to be loading up here necessarily. You're definitely buying into the major resistance point. Been grinding CS also, almost 4k elo. Nice, man. Yeah, I tanked really bad recently. I was 9.8. I almost broke 10k elo in CS and Premier, and then I tanked some 7.8 now. There's also news that the iShare Trust is going to be done from, gone from the, I don't know what DTCC is. I definitely should know what that is, but I don't. Mag is so him. He really liked that. We're gonna make a or when I say we, I mean Lear is gonna make a Counter-Strike montage for me soon. So we can flex all my headshots and stuff. I'm not quite pro like Charlie or anything, but I'm pretty nice with it, not gonna lie. Ticker's been removed. Interesting. Is the iShares is the BlackRock one, I think, right? To be honest, I genuinely don't really care that much about any of the ETF stuff, guys. You know, my vibe or approach, I should say, word it as. Let me be a little bit more serious. My approach to things, guys, is to try to really do my best to ignore a lot of the, you know, kind of outside influences, news, all these kind of things. You know, I've learned through a lot of experience that I do best when I just ignore most things and just follow my system. Sure, it's nice to have a narrative to attach, you know, to the system I'm following, but at the end of the day, you know, the most important thing is following your system when you have one that you know works. So, yeah, I really try to ignore a lot of that kind of stuff, right? And just follow my approach. That seems to be what works the best for me. And I think that probably for most discretionary traders, that's going to be the case for you too, right? It's just the kind of simple argument where you follow your system and just be 80 IQ instead of trying to be 160 IQ and game theorize out what's happening with all the narratives and all the news and stuff. You're pretty unlikely to be correct, right? I think it's kind of just worth, you know, I talk about this all the time, right? Like my quote that I say is being smart is for stupid people. The chances that you're actually significantly smarter than other people is not that high, especially in this space where our average stupid person is probably smarter than the average person in the world by a lot, right? So I think if you just approach things from a humble mindset and don't gas yourself up and make yourself think you're so much better and smarter than everyone else, that's how you have a chance to actually be smarter than other people. You need that humility in your life. I think it's really important. So let me catch up with chat real quick and then we'll get going. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Bull market enjoyers, is it Jover already? I definitely wouldn't classify this as a bull market. I just think we're in the midst of a bull trend. We've been in a bull trend all year long. I did make a couple of mistakes here near the end, but it doesn't matter, right? Bull market, bear market, fuck all that shit, guys. It doesn't matter. Here's an important lesson. By the time it's obvious you're in a bull market or in a bear market, the market has already moved a shitload, right? By the time you realize you're in a bull market, it's because it's making all-time highs and shit like that. By the time you're in a bear market, it's because it's drawn down 40%. You need to just trade the trend and stop caring about bull market, bear market. That stuff doesn't really matter that much. Identify the trend and trade it. Simple as that. There better be a dragon lore in the highlights. I don't have a D-lore. Honestly, the D-lore is pretty expensive. I do have some nice skins though, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll be flexing skins on the Twitch stream. I may or may not have a sweet knife. May or may not. Hey bro, I'm late. Sato is streaming. Yeah, you know, you gotta manage your priorities, right? I mean, if Sato is streaming, you guys, you know, you gotta tune it in. Honestly, you're gonna get more alpha from him just counter trading him than you are from me. His hit rates, you know, counter trading him is like 100% hit rate. I definitely don't have a 100% hit rate. What up, Stoke? What up, Richard? All right, guys, I caught up with chat. Let's go ahead and get into some stuff. I'm gonna kind of ignore chat for a minute while I ramble about my thoughts on Bitcoin, and then we'll kind of reassess and come back to chat. Make sure you're drinking water, lads. Okay, so let's start from higher time frame and kind of walk it down. Let's see. Go to daily. Okay, so like we've talked about several times over on the stream, we've been in, you know, bull trend all year long since the very beginning of the year. You could maybe even argue that it kind of started at the very end of December 2022. But all year long, we've been in a bull trend. yearly VWAP is super bullish. We've reclaimed and used previous yearly VWAP as support. So as far as my higher time frame systems, are concerned, we should continue to trade up. I did make the mistake of trying to call dead cat bounce over here. So my thesis was that because of the fact that the impulses are starting to get weaker, this third impulse was super weak, and you can clearly see that kind of rounding off effect taking place on the higher time frame trend. My idea was that as we traded up into 28K, which overlapped with the current, at the time it was the current quarterly VWAP, I expected that we would probably reject from here. We did get that rejection, and we're boomering it. I didn't mean to click that. We did get that rejection from there, and I could have traded it for close to 2,000 points. I only locked it in for like 400 or 500, but definitely a little good mini lesson there that being right or being wrong isn't really actually the most important thing. It's how you handle being right and being wrong. One of my strong suits is that when I'm wrong, it doesn't necessarily mean I lose. A lot of the times when I'm wrong, I still kind of make it out with small profits. I don't always maximize my wins as much as I should, definitely, but I'm pretty aggressive to take profit a lot of the time from years and years of experience trading. So it's a really important lesson, guys, that being right and being wrong isn't actually the most important thing just because Twitter tells you it is. Actually, the most important thing is how you respond to being right and wrong, right? How do you handle it? It's kind of the same argument about how I view the emotional spectrum, right? Other people will tell you should learn to turn your emotions off, and I don't think that that's really feasible or healthy. So you don't try to control your emotions, you let them come through you. The thing that you try to control is how you respond to your emotions. When you get angry, when you get excited, how do you respond to them? That's the most important thing. So moving forward, right, I took the fade around, at 28.4 was my short, which was like, 150 points from the local top. I invalidated myself on the short, and then my next play was to watch how we interacted with 29K, which was the major HVM and yearly band that overlaps with this composite's low. And something I've talked about in the past, guys, is that just because you have hard invalidations where you say, my line in the sand was, if we reaccept over 29.2, that we're going to trade up a lot higher. And it's a really valuable lesson that just because you're waiting for some sort of level to get interacted with doesn't mean you have to wait for it. Invalidating yourself beforehand is actually a really useful approach. That's something that I did here at the beginning of the year. I've gone over this lesson before, but I think it's a really good one to drive home. So when we were in a strong bear trend all of 2022, and I followed that along, the whole way down. And my plan, when we traded down into this region, my plan was if we reclaim 20K, I'm going to get bullish again. But instead of waiting for that kind of breakout and retest to happen, I just went ahead and invalidated myself early. So I went ahead and started to get bullish. Actually, I started to buy Litecoin in December, but to offset my bearishness. But I started buying spot Bitcoin, really early before I was actually invalidated, because, if you wait for that obvious invalidation a lot of the times, and, when you're dealing with trending markets, you're either not going to get them at all, you're not going to get the clean setups, or you're going to have to wait a really long time. So if I had waited for this level to get flipped, I would have had to wait until March, right? So I would have had to sit out 3 months before I could have gotten my setup going. So it's the same kind of thing over here. Rather than waiting to get hard invalidated, I went ahead and invalidated myself early, which I was primarily just using you need to have a proper reasoning for doing so. In this instance, I was using the spot TWAPs as my reasoning. So yeah, basically, I did go ahead and cut my hedge in the 29s and went spot long. I don't have any crazy, I didn't have any crazy derivative longs on this, which I arguably should have. I definitely had setups come, but I did drop the ball on that a little bit, so just went ahead and went spot long on it. So yeah, moving forward, guys, the vibe basically is that, You know, 35K is very significant macro resistance. It lines up with a lot of different, you know, situations. So, you know, basically 35K is going to be the line in the sand now moving forward. And I don't think that being swing long up here makes sense anymore. You want to wait, you know, for the next kind of setup, which most likely is going to be pulling back towards either 30 or 28K or what I would say. So I'm not saying you want to short up here. You definitely don't want to short where we're at now, because we're almost certainly going to drift up again and try to, you know, test this once more. But I do think that if we get a move like that where we kind of trade up into the 35s, 36s again, potentially you could swing short that. I'm probably not going to. All I'll do is probably just hedge out my spot again up there. But I do think that, yeah, I mean, we'll probably end up doing some sort of pullback. This is definitely, you know, definitely a really strong impulse that we've just had. So you don't want to short, you know, if you look at like what happens after a strong impulse, you don't want to short right away, because it will almost always continue to drift in that direction that the impulse came in. So I do think we'll continue to drift higher. Eventually it will probably build a distribution of some sort, whether it's, you know, in the 35s, maybe all the way up to like 37, potentially something like that. And then from there, it's probably going to do something similar to one of these kind of structures where it trades back down. And I think that, you know, 30K or 28K are going to be the next buy the dip zones. It really, one of the main things to pay attention to for gauging where the next buy the dip zone will be is going to be based on how long it takes. So what that means is the longer it takes to trade down, the more shallow the dip will likely be. So if we trade down soon, it's going to go deeper. And if we trade down later and the distribution takes a lot longer, it's going to go shallower. It's just, there's a lot of different things I could say. The most simple reasoning for why I'll, you know, have that tape is going to be the VWAPs, right? So the yearly VWAP, the longer it takes, the more the yearly VWAP is going to drift up. And I think that if it takes a long time, by the time we do break down, it'll probably be, you know, into the 20 or 39K that the VWAP overlaps. So this HVN is massive. If we go ahead and zoom out all the way, let's delete all this shit. Let's let it populate the entire. If we look at, I mean, from an HVN standpoint, this is one of the largest high volume nodes that we have in the entire distribution for Bitcoin. So definitely a key area to pay attention to are both of these HVNs. And you could identify this low volume node as well. But I do think, yeah, I mean, the key area to pay attention to first is going to be the upper, you know, the lower 30K region. So hopefully that's all clear so far. That's pretty much, you know, where I'm at, right? So TLDR, we're almost certainly going to continue to drift upwards and build a, you know, and from there we'll be identifying, are we building a distribution? If we build a distribution and see momentum loss, then you probably want to be looking to hedge it out. And then we'll probably trade down from there before upwards continuation. For now, there's really no reason to bet on any sort of larger down move. I did think that we would lose 25K, but with how things have played out, we have so much support between now and then that it doesn't really make sense to even worry about 25K anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and slap in some alerts really quickly. Am I on the perp? Yeah, we're on the perp. Slap in some alerts really quickly. I'm going to drag this one down. Alert at the high, alert at the support region. Put an alert into the low volume region as well. So the only other scenario that, you know, so let's doodle out the scenarios, right? So essentially I think that we will probably drift up from here and build a distribution before, you know, we'll probably sweep the high at one point and then trend down. Redraw that. Sweep the high at one point and then probably trend down into this region where we want to be by the dip. Another scenario that could theoretically happen, so if all this ETF stuff is going to really materialize, it is a possibility that we get the really shallow dip into the singles down here, because if we look at the TPO, there's almost certainly going to be singles on this upwards move. There is always a possibility that the singles hold a support. It's definitely something for trending markets. There's kind of two ways to play trending markets, and they kind of, you know, ultimately they kind of line up with the same thing. So you guys should be familiar with this schematic. If you're not, I would recommend watching the ranges and trends YouTube video I have on this channel. Definitely does a good job of explaining this stuff, but essentially basic, you know, bull trend, you know, structuring is building distributions, expanding from it, building distributions, expanding from it, right? This is when you have a strong trending market, this is what the structuring should look like. So what you're trying to do to play continuation is you're looking to get buys into these singles, right? These voids represent the initiative from buyers. So when if you ever do any retests into these kind of regions, that's one of the best areas you can buy for that continuation, right? So you do the aggressive buy. You can either aggressively buy the dip into the single, or you can buy the range reclaim. I normally do some sort of combination of the two, like, you know, open position here and then compound position here. That's a lot of the times how I'll play trends. In 2021, that was like my bread and butter. That's how I made a lot of the money I have now from that kind of stuff. Hopefully that's clear. But yeah, I mean, if there's any questions on the higher time frame stuff, let me know. I think I pretty much covered it, right? I think that we'll probably drift upwards before the, you know, trend, you know, dies out a little bit, builds a distribution, trends back down, and then we'll probably see upwards continuation from there. So hopefully that's clear. I'm gonna check chat and catch up, and then yeah, if you guys have any questions on that, let me know. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next topics. And for real, I feel like my next step is really just trying to delete Twitter. Yeah, I mean, kind of depends on where you're at in your arc and how confident you are, how much experience you have. I definitely can remember years ago when Twitter had a really negative impact on my trading, because you see other people that you know, like or respect sharing their takes, and it kind of makes you want to follow them, or makes you at the very least kind of question, maybe question your own logic, right? You want to be long and somebody you like or respect is, you know, saying they're bearish. It makes you question yourself, right? The longer you trade, the less likely that stuff is to affect you. Twitter is, you know, for fun for me, right? If you guys look at my page, I mostly just shit post because it's entertaining to me. I love, you know, sharing the memes that Lear makes for me, and trying to laugh and have a good time. I think that, yeah, most of you guys should try to do that with Twitter. Try to change your approach with Twitter away from looking at everybody else as some sort of, you know, gods, right, where they know everything. The reality is they don't know anything for the most part. And just treat Twitter as a platform to have fun. I think a take I've had in the past that's probably pretty underrated, is that if you want to make it in this space long term, you need to not be serious all the time. You need to learn how to interact with the community and have fun. Learn how to, you know, this is definitely something, like, I'm a very serious person. Being in the crypto space for like almost 8 years now, or maybe over 8 years, I don't really remember. I'm not gonna do the math. I don't know how to do math anymore. It's being in this space for a long time has helped me to be less serious and learn how to joke around. A lot of my friends are really funny guys, and, you know, I don't really consider myself to be funny at all, but I'm learning to be funnier and learning to, you know, enjoy myself more as time goes on and not take myself so seriously all the time. So I think that that's a really important thing. If you're too serious all the time in crypto, you're gonna burn yourself out, and that's how you get washed out in the periods where things are rough, right? The whole kind of time capitulation argument. We're in the time capitulation stages, guys, where a lot of people are prone to be giving up these days, and One of the things that can really help you with survival is having a good time, having fun. Really underrated, in my opinion, to view things that way. It's hard to handle it when emotions run high. Probably talking about Twitter. Yeah, I mean, kind of same thing, right? Just focus on ignoring other people, and treating Twitter as a platform you can learn and have fun. But having fun is a really underrated bit, right? Learn to joke around, learn to not be serious all the time. You're gonna enjoy your stay a lot long, and you're probably far more likely to make it long term if you can just have fun, guys. The rule of 90-10. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you followed up. Twitter is indeed like a magnifier for these emotions. Yeah. And you guys got to know that, like, most of the time, everybody's flexing and bragging right now, right? I mean, a lot of stuff isn't real that you guys are seeing. A lot of stuff is not real. People are only showing the things that they do well. They're never really covering their mistakes, right? And showing you a realistic view. These kind of P&L flexes that you're seeing are horrible for your mental, because you see people flexing big numbers, and it's not realistic for most people to be putting up big numbers. In order to put up big numbers, you have to have big money, right? You know, it's not like somebody that's making $1 million off this pump, you know, has a couple 100,000 or something, right? They're not just doing that with leverage. Those are the stupid people, right? In order to make $1 million off this pump, you need to have many, many millions of dollars already, right? So you need to not let the P&L flexes get to you, because they're not realistic goals for you. 10% of life is made up of what happens to you. 90% is decided by how you react. That's a pretty good quote, man. Big fan. Thanks, Timothy. Appreciate it. Can't believe you don't have a large following. It's me. Dan Allison is me logged into my alt account. I'm not gonna lie, I totally agree, but the way that, like, social dynamics work in our space is that, like, most people that get large followings do it from getting promoted by other people. Twitter promotion is definitely the main way that people get followings, and I just don't get promoted by other people. If I'm being super honest right now, like, a lot of people that have big power in our space from the social dynamics don't like me for different reasons. It's not like I don't think I really did anything to deserve it, but that's just how it is. What target are you eyeing for spot? You mean upside target? Not really interested in selling. I don't really have any interest in selling spot, so I wouldn't have an answer for you on that. I'm just gonna hedge my spot in moments when I think that we're gonna pull back, and then I can use that as an opportunity to buy more if we do pull back. That's how I've been playing it. Just join thoughts on Sol. I'll cover Solana when I get to altcoins. I'm a noob. Hope I will become good someday. Just keep grinding, Mark. I'm in that arc I already thought on deleting. There's so much good info to delete it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good, useful information on Twitter, right? If you can look past some of the anger and some of the hate and stuff, there's a lot of useful stuff on there as well. So with those trend continuations, you just wait for the one candle and decide what to do from there. You don't try to guess where the range will break. You wait for it to fail and act on it. Pretty much, right? I mean, you know, I'm not. If you're trying to play trend continuations, you're waiting for the candle to go against the trend, right? So, you know, like my little doodles, I said, if you're playing bullish continuations, you wait for it to build its distribution, which gives you an idea of, you know, where you can put risk on, essentially. So when you see a move down against the trend, you can either be aggressive and buy the dip or buy the range reclaim. Those are the kind of two ways to play trend continuation. Sorry I'm late. That's unacceptable, Troy. Won't happen again. You're gonna get banned. Thanks, Magus, for sharing your thoughts. Very helpful. Great stuff. No problem, man. I'm happy to hear that. I think sometimes I get lost in what's best to do because there's so many different ways to analyze the market. Even with only order flow, everyone has their own way to see it. Right. I mean, that's just how it is, right? Everything needs to be personalized. You should not have the mindset that you're just going to start trading and just copy how other people do stuff. $1,000 Degen account, when and how, $100,000. Buy meme coins when we're in the bull market. There you go. Order flow is becoming an umbrella term. Yeah, and you gotta be real careful who you learn who you learn stuff from, guys, because you know, I'm not gonna name any names or anything, but a lot of people really don't have good grasps of the things. They're just teaching it because it's a flavor of the month. It's a good way to get engagement. You post an open interest chart and go, look at how these guys lost money, blah blah blah. Magus, glad to see you're doing well, having fun, been active in Paragon a while back. Oh, what up, Mandan? How are you, man? Who's the best selected best accounts to follow to filter Twitter noise? I don't have an answer for you on that, man, because honestly, I don't give a shit what other people are doing with their trades and stuff, right? Been doing it for long enough to where I really just operate within my own, you know, my own little bubble for decision making. Twitter is purely a platform for having fun for me now, and just, you know, go on Twitter to see memes and laugh and to have a good time and share my own memes, right? That's it. So sorry, Timothy, I don't have an answer for you on that. Why do you think peeps in social space, at least in CT, aren't fans of you? I don't really know, man. Don't know. Shouldn't have said any of that anyways, but you guys know me. I just like to be honest, and that's definitely the vibe. Criminally underfollowed. Thanks, Doc. Best educator on CT. The best, he says. Damn. Damn. Thanks, guys. All right. Thanks for all the positive support, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, so I caught up with chat. Gonna go ahead and move on to the next topic of conversation. So we're just gonna run through all my chart panels and see what we can gather from here. So let's look at the medium time frame. Really nothing worth pointing out immediately, right? I do think that if we, you know, this is definitely the key by the dip zone. You can see the confluence on the lower time frame, as well as on the higher time frame, right? So you know, 31 to 30 is definitely, you know, an area to pay attention to. Other than that, you know, I think that what will probably happen, it's nice that we have our composites drawn on here too. So if 35 and change is the let me go back to my VWAPs. Yeah, it's last year's VWAP high is in the 35 and change. So really 35 to 37 is going to be a huge resistance region. 37 is a macro composite high. So this is definitely an area where you don't really want to be, it doesn't make sense at all to be risk on into this, which is the most significant resistance region. So I do think that we will probably continue to drift upwards. I think we'll probably build some sort of distribution. We'll see some sort of, you know, sweep of the distribution. That's, you know, especially if this sweep comes off the back of shorts closing out, you're definitely going to want to be more cautious, potentially short-term bearish from that, for us to kind of trade down, and then do trend continuation from there most likely. So yeah, I do think that we'll drift up further. It would not surprise me at all to see 36, 37. But then from there, I do think it would probably be over in the short term. There's really nothing else for me to say with this chart, to be honest. Obviously, a lot of this upwards move was off the back of shorts closing out. We can go ahead and look at that real quick. It really wasn't even that big of an OI drop, to be honest. It was like 8%. Okay, almost 10%. So actually, that is pretty reasonable from just Binance alone. So yeah, let's So look at the weekly profile. There's probably nothing to say here. I don't even have composites drawn on this chart anymore. Deleted them all. Yeah, there's really nothing to say, right? So originally, you know, invalidation for bear thesis was, you know, getting back into this kind of region, you know, getting above, you know, this is, you know, if we look at it, here's a composite and here's a composite as well. Getting above this composite low was bearish invalidation. So doing that right, building a distribution above it, nice invalidation. So that was one of the reasons why I decided to be a little bit more long focused. Did I think that we would just yeet up the way we did? I mean, yesterday I was streaming Counter-Strike and we went up 10% while I was streaming. So, you know, definitely not unhappy about that or anything. But again, there's really nothing to say about on the weekly, right? Everything's pretty clean on it. Let's take a gander at the daily. The one main thing that we can look at on the daily is going to be the single prints. So something I was talking about on the higher time frame chart was paying attention to these singles right here. So you can see that we just barely front run them on the excess for today. Paying attention to how we interact with these singles is a really good thing to pay attention to on lower time frame. Again, I do think that we'll probably trade up, but before we do that, we might very well trade down into these singles. If you see us trade into these singles, which is conveniently overlapping with the weekly VWAP, if we trade down into this region off the back of longs puking, that's a really good indication that you should play long for continuation. Other than that, there's really, I mean, the profiles are pretty clean right now. There's no obvious inefficiencies or anything. You know, don't get caught up in, you know, the whole repairman meme, guys, with the you know, we do have an NPOC down here, but the likelihood that we trade down to 30.5 right now is pretty fucking low, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, increase the tick size. Classic little mini TPO lesson, guys. When volatility's high, you need to have higher tick size. When volatility's low, you need to lower your tick size. So I did bump up my tick size on my TPO a lot today. Same thing, just bumped it up on the volume profile as well. I did have a question about what volume profile are you using. I'm just using the standard trading view one, man. VRPV or VRVP. I use pretty much standard settings where I just turn everything gray, turn everything off. I pretty much just use it for high volume and low volume. That's all I use it for. And then the only distinction between my charts is I will add more rows or delete rows depending off of you know, what the chart looks like. Simple rule, guys. There's no like math to it or anything. If your volume profile looks like this, where it's like disgusting looking, then you need to increase it. Right, so you want it to look more like this, where it looks a little cleaner that way. These profiles are looking real gross right now. We'll so I covered both these charts. I have no interest in covering the low time frame chart. Cover both the TPOs. We'll do the VWAP scan next, and then we'll move on to ETH and other altcoins. What time frames you draw composites on? The way that you want to view the way that you want to view composite drawing is you want to draw them on as low as possible, right? Because if you draw a composite on like a 4-hour, it's not going to be very accurate. If you draw it on a 30-minute, it will be slightly more accurate. You know, I generally aim to draw my comps as low as possible. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So if I can get by drawing a composite on the 1 minute, I'm going to, because it's going to be more accurate that way. You know, for composite drawing, your end point is pretty obvious. Your starting point for drawing the comp is the most discretionary part, and drawing it on the 1 minute is going to give me the most accurate start point. That's actually pretty useful fucking information right there. What up, Fern, by the way? How is your TV so cohesive with open interest and stuff? I mean, you guys can get it as well. It's not some sort of secret thing. It's built into TradingView now. Open interest. A lot of the other stuff is custom indicators that Charlie's made, right? All the VWAPs, all the order flow, and you know, stuff is all indicators that Charlie made. The Repairman has been great this year, though. Repairman, All right. Let's do some explanation on that, right? It's all contextual. So if, you know, the market is ranging about probably 85% of the time and trending the other 15, right? When you're ranging, the repairman is good. When you're trending, not good. Simple argument would be, so this is really, share this into your brain, guys. We don't give a shit about the repairman when the trend is strong. That's why when we were looking at this TPO and I said, we have this MPOC right here, and we don't care about this MPOC at all. If we were in a range-bound environment, this MPOC would be cleaned up almost 100%. But there's no reason at all to care about this MPOC when we're in a trend, right? It's very unlikely that we're going to come back to it. We're probably going to keep going up way before we ever come back to this. So, drill that lesson into your mind. MPOCs, you know, just repairman arguments only matter in ranges. How do you like the native TPO? I don't know. It's all right. I think I do have it loaded up right here. Yeah. I don't like it, to be honest. Here's what I would say. The aesthetics on the TradingView TPO and the functionality of how it zooms in and zooms out is great. It works really well. It works better than any of the other TPO indicators that I've used. However, it lacks too much of the things I care about, right? It just gives you point of control value area high, value area low. It doesn't let me extend point of controls, right, to identify MPOCs. It doesn't mark out singles for me. It doesn't mark out poor high, poor low, right? So once they start to add in some of the other details to that indicator, I'll probably start using it. But for the time being, I don't think it's good. Native TPO is so bad you have to have a certain zoom in, zoom out to see it. Yeah, I mean, I thought the zoom in, zoom out feature was actually kind of well done on it, the way that was functioning when I was testing it the other day, but it just lacks too many things for me to want to use it. What's up, Magus? Took a break, but joining Paragon next month. All right, firm. We'll see you then. Couple called 12K, and we went 12K in the other direction. I think we went more than 12K in the other direction, but yeah. Good explanation. Thanks. BTC's breaking down now. Carving into brain. Is BTC really breaking down now? I don't really know if we can. Oh, breaking up now. Yeah. I do think that we'll go up higher for sure. If we get any setups like I talked about, then I'll probably play long continuation. Still happy they're going this direction now, though. Always room for improvement. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, they should have added in the TPO stuff like ages ago. Their code has been able to support it, and they just chose not to for some reason, which has always been frustrating. But definitely happy that they're moving in the direction. Right? Because it's not like I don't want to use custom indicators and stuff, but it is nice like when they're built in. It just makes things a lot easier, to be honest. Okay, so that's it for Bitcoin, guys. We're going to go ahead and move on. Okay, let's get into... Oh, yeah, actually, I take that back. I was just going to do a quick VWAP scan, show you guys the logic of how I look at this stuff really quickly. You guys have probably seen this on the TradingView or on my tweets recently. I've been covering this logic, but essentially, scanning VWAPs, pretty simple stuff. When we look at all the VWAPs, you're saying to bet on long continuation at the time being, right? So, from the yearly standpoint, current yearly bullish, previous yearly bullish. The only thing that's bearish at all about this is we're trading into last year's band. From the quarterly standpoint, it's trading above it, and it's even starting to slope up, especially recently from yesterday's prints. It's starting to slope up a lot, so quarterly's bullish. Current monthly is going to be the same as the quarterly because they both reset in October for Q4. So we don't really care too much about monthly, but we can say that previous monthly was bullish and previous monthly acted as support. As far as weeklies are going, previous weekly was bullish and current weekly is bullish. So as far as we're concerned, when we scan the VWAPs, everything is bullish. There's like maybe one, so this is probably 0.1. And then there's basically no other indication, right? The fact that we're really far away from quarterly bands is a little bit bearish, right? So maybe we can call that bear signal too. But basically every other feature or signal on here is bullish. So definitely looking for buy the dip mode, continuation mode. I do think, again, we're probably going to exhaust eventually. Probably go up another, few thousand points, maybe like 37 at the highest, I would say. And then we're probably going to exhaust. So don't get too carried away. When I say we're playing long continuation, that's, with shorter term outlook. That's not swing long for the next 6 months, right? If you swing long for the next 6 months, you're going to get chopped the fuck up most likely. Okay, let's take a quick gander at ETH. Quick gander at ETH. ETH structure looks like ass still. Actually, if we just look at ETH BTC, holy fuck, that was even worse than I expected it to be. Yeah, so ETH still dog shit. It's essentially just getting carried up by Bitcoin right now is what's happening. This thing's getting grossly outperformed by Bitcoin, which is embarrassing for this. Since ETH is baited to Bitcoin, it should be able to outperform it on the up moves. Let's go to like 3-day to clean it up a little bit. The trend structuring is kind of bullish. The fact that the yearly is somewhat sloped upwards, but the yearly is already kind of flattened out and even like kind of rounded off a little bit. So overall, ETH is still looks horrible. So I continue to be validated in my idea that I'm just going to continue to ignore this for the time being. I think in the long run, being a ETH bull will definitely pay, and in the future I'm gonna have a big ETH stack again. The previous 2 bull markets that I've participated in, the 2017 and 2021, ETH has been one of my biggest trades by just being long spot ETH and then doing ETH long continuation plays. So I'm going to for sure want to be an ETH bull eventually, but for the time being, there's no indication that we want to be doing it, being bullish on this thing just yet. So this structure is kind of bullish, but it's significantly weaker than Bitcoin. Just compare the two, right? ETH is not even, ETH is just traded into demand or into supply basically. So yeah, don't be bullish on ETH, TLDR. There's no sense in it. Poor ETH. Poor ETH. Okay. WorldCoin looks pretty decent. This might be a this might be a catch-up play. So actually, hold on. Something I skipped over. You missed the move, and what are you supposed to do when you miss a move? Simple argument, guys. If Bitcoin does a massive move and you miss it, the way to play it is to go and hunt shitcoins that are going to follow in its path. If Bitcoin ever does a big up move or a big down move, what's going to happen is the shitcoins are going to follow. So that's what you should be doing right now. Since I think that Bitcoin will continue to go upwards, you need to be looking for shitcoins that you can chase. It's a really simple lesson. Maybe it's a little bit, easier said than done, but a lot of my really good trades in the past have been from that logic. Like in January of this year, Bitcoin yeeted up really quickly. It went from 15K to 20 something K really quickly, and just chasing altcoins was an incredible opportunity, right? January basically made my entire Q1 from being long Bitcoin and chasing shitcoins. So I'm not going to go into a whole ramble because I don't want to make the stream too long because we still have a lot of stuff to cover, but really useful, or maybe not useful, but really good strategy, right, to to do is to chase shitcoins. So ETH BTC isn't a good indicator anymore for alts. Not really. I think we've probably been past that for a long time. Most altcoins still probably look like garbage. Most altcoins are going to be in the same boat as ETH, but you're trying to spot the outliers and trade those. BTC distributes, ETH runs. You know how it works. Yeah, this is generally how it works, but I don't think we're there yet. You're not a believer in Bitcoin, ETH to shitcoins, just go straight from Bitcoin to shitcoins usually? Yes. I'm not saying ETH won't have its moves and rotations in the future. I'm sure it will, but yeah, just, you know, we're not in a bull market. Like, definitely Bitcoin moves, you want to go straight to shitcoins. Can you show what to look for when to chase and how you would take entries? What are some chasers? I mean, so we're going to cover, I'm going to run through altcoins here and we'll cover it. But essentially, you're looking for altcoins that have strong market structure. You know, the same way that I talked about Bitcoin, right? You want to look for things that have strong market structure and then buy VWAP retests, buy composite and VWAP retests, especially when they overlap. You know, if you can buy VWAP plus comp plus either HVN or LVN, which if it's a composite, it's probably going to be HVN. But overlapping these three are like the strongest levels. So if you can see an overlap of these three, or even 2 out of these 3, it's a reason to buy. Identifying, for identifying what to buy, you can use a combination of a spaghetti chart and VWAP scans, right? So when I scan VWAPs, you can just quickly look and say, you know, let's look at a strong coin like INJ. This is obviously a strong coin. What the fuck is this? Oh, educational doodles that are old as shit. Forgot about all that. You know, you look at INJ and you say it's strong. And then if we look at some random coin down here, look at LDO, for example. LDO is weak, right? You want your coin to look like this. We'll do the classic inversion argument. If LDO looked like this, I would want to buy it. But, you know, it doesn't look like that. It looks like this, right? So hopefully that makes sense, man. I don't want to over-explain it because it's not like something I haven't already explained before. How do you pick altcoins for scalping? Tick rates. I'm looking for high ticks and then I trade them. If a lot of people are trading the same perp, then I want to be on it. That's simple. BTC to Pepe has been the rotation the last 2 pumps, June and yesterday. Did Pepe do a lot? Yeah, I mean, market structure on Pepe is still pretty dog shit, to be honest. So for scanning ticks, guys, it's not just about, you don't want to just see high ticks, you want to see consistent high ticks. There's going to be lots of altcoins that will put in a lot of high ticks here for a moment in there, but you want them to be consistently high. So the best way to do it is to scan the hour, you know, on Orion, it'll let you scan 5-minute, 15-minute, and hourly. So you want to see all of those have high tick rates, higher tick rates than the rest. Anything over 10K on the 5-minute is probably tradable, but you want it to be, right, you know, putting in consistent tick rates throughout the day, not just the random spikes. If you just get a random spike where somebody gets blown out on a short and it puts in 50,000 ticks and then the tick rate dies off right away, then it's not really worth trading. Yeah, okay, I didn't realize that Pepe did that much, Doc. To be honest, I've been ignoring Pepe. Alright guys, I'm going to ignore chat for a minute and start to scan through markets really quickly. You guys can throw tickers in the chat if you really want me to look at your shitcoin. Most likely what will happen is I will probably bully your shitcoin because still most of them look like ass. But, you know, world coin I can see being a continuation coin for sure. BLZ, I don't really like the way BLZ looks at this moment, but overall it looks okay. TRB has been one of my favorite coins for the past couple of months, definitely. Can I justify telling you to buy it up here at $90? Definitely not. But if it does some sort of pullback, either a pullback into this, you know, the two scenarios of something like this are either buy the singles, so let it build a distribution, come back into singles, and then buy it, or the deeper, you know, move back into quarterly VWAP. These are kind of the two areas to pay attention to for buying the dip on this coin. This has been, I haven't really taken a single swing on this coin. I've just been, this has been my scalp coin for a while now, as you can see on the scalp list. OP still looks like dog shit, so yeah, I mean, that's why I told him to sell this still. BCH is starting to shape up reasonably, but I don't really have any interest in it. Let's look at Solana. Oops. Let's go to like the daily. Yeah, Solana looks good for a dip for sure. I mean, it's structuring. You know, VWAPs are pretty flat, so it's definitely not in some really strong trend, but it looks okay overall. I think Link is probably good for a dip buy. You're not going to get that far of a dip though, right? You're probably looking for like a dip into this kind of region. Let's drop it down to 30 minutes so I can make that argument. Oh, this is actually probably dip buy territory. So this is what I was covering on my most recent outlook, was this is where you wanted to buy next. So Link's probably actually already good, right? Maybe it dips one more time into this region, but this is probably good dip buying territory on this one. Fuck all these old lines. INJ's been a ripper for sure. I didn't expect it to trade up to almost $13 today, but it did somehow. I mean, I shorted this one over here, and then got invalidated myself pretty quickly. And I said in the group that it was going to go up, and I didn't buy it myself because I'm stupid. But I think, you know, this thing, it obviously can't really justify buying it here, but if it does some sort of setup, could be a buyer. I think liquidity looks good for continuation, definitely. This is probably going to be a laggard that does trade up eventually. Definitely would recommend keeping an eye on liquidity. Tomo, I do think it's probably a matter of time before Tomo's up in the $2 region, so dips are for buying on Tomo. Maker looks pretty reasonable too. So basically everything on my Giga Strong list is probably good to go. I refuse to trade Tron, but it does look pretty decent. Nothing bad to say about Tron. Ant, I mean, yeah, this thing will probably continue to go up as well. So yeah, I mean, you guys can see how quickly, right? I'm scanning through it pretty quickly. You guys can see how fast, right? You just look at a chart with VWAP set up and just instantly say, all right, liquidity looks good. You know, all right, Tomo looks good, right? I mean, that's why I like these charts the way I have them set up, because I don't have to sit there and fucking draw levels in and spend a year trying to discern if it's got bullish structure or not. You can just tell right away. Most of the other coins down here are going to look like garbage for the most part, I would imagine at least. Rune doesn't look terrible. Damn, I hate how these charts look so disgusting when I load them up at first. Damn, Flamingo. Most of these things are still in, you know, pretty bearish territory. I mean, I haven't seen a single coin that really looked good. Oh, what's this? Render. Render's back. I get asked about Render almost every stream. Render's finally back, it looks like. I would need to go to the spot pair to get some confirmation of that for sure. Fuck is that? Ave. Ave's been a ripper. Probably would go ahead and sit out on Ave, even though it looks kind of good right there. STX doesn't look bad. I'll catch up with chat in a second. Somebody in the chat asked about AVAX. Hold on, let me. I don't want to go in proper order. When Moon. What a mucho. Newer here, found you from Twitter account a couple weeks ago. Are the bars on the y-axis? They're sitting on the. What are you saying? It's built into TradingView. Yes, it is. This is just a basic volume profile. Just go to here and just type in VRPV. Right, visible range volume profile. So it's a volume profile that is going to be drawn off whatever price action you give it. Just a pretty simple indicator. These are the settings I use. Gray everything out. Turn off all the lines because I don't care about that. Add in a bunch of rows. That's pretty much it. Arbitrum. Arb looks like, you know, hard time frame, it looks like dog shit still. In the immediate picture, it looks okay-ish. I mean, I could see this quarterly developing bullishly for the time being, especially because we're in a bit of a risk-on cycle right now. So it looks okay-ish. Ish is the key word. Our time frame structuring is still really bad on it, so I wouldn't, you know, be too aggressive with this thing, but I could see it trading up in the short term. Only shillers are popular in this space, not traders. Factual. Gotta go Magus. Later, Callus. Tomo, I already did Tomo. Link. I already did Link. What do you use for execution? The terminal? Yeah, I use terminal for execution. Okay, then Mucho wanted to look at AVAX. Probably don't have anything nice to say about AVAX, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, so the higher time frame trend, super bearish still. The immediate picture, it's got like a little local uptrend going for it. So, I mean, I could maybe see this, you know, getting carried up by Bitcoin in the short term, but it's ultimately going to get smacked down by a resistance. You know, it's in a strong bear trend this year, right? The yearly open, it's, you know, it's below its yearly open, so it looks pretty rough overall. I could, you know, so in TLDR, I could see it trading up a little bit further, but I wouldn't, this is not what I would be wanting to pick for my continuation plays. Why do the bans of VWAP have significance? I could give you the stupid answer and just say they do just because they do, which is honestly the kind of reality for a lot of things. But they're just standard deviations from values. So let me pull up a simple chart, like WorldCoin maybe. No, that's not gonna have enough. It's a coin that doesn't have very much history. Here's why you wanna. Here's why you care about the VWAPs or the VWAP standard deviation. It's essentially the same logic as the volume profile. A volume profile is a profile with a point of control, a value very high and a value very low. So low, high, POC, right? It's the same view for VWAPs. The VWAP is the POC. Standard deviation high is the value area high. Standard deviation low is the value area low. That's how you should view the VWAP stuff. It's the same. It's a volume profile, right? It's literally the same. Even a lot of the times, like you can see it on like check weekly off. The value area high and value area low are almost always gonna overlap pretty closely with the standard deviation bands. They're the same fucking thing. That's a decent question though, Musa. Check BLZ and Rune. I mean, I already kind of did those. I skipped over them, to be honest. Like, I think BLZ is maybe a buy the dipper, but it's really overextended right now. Rune probably looks okay though, actually. I'm not gonna trade Rune. I kind of don't like trading Rune personally, but I mean, definitely looks like a buy the dipper. What's the indicator with colored candles? It's based on volume. It's not based on volume, actually. It's based on delta. So it's the difference between buying and selling is what the candles are. Right, so if we look at this, you know, this is my volume indicator at the bottom. The colored candles is delta. What's the difference between buying and selling? They're not actually the same thing. The VWAP indicators, Charlie's custom stuff. We have two different VWAP indicators. They're both custom. Thoughts on render? Yeah, I kind of touched on that a little bit, but essentially looking at render right now, it looks like, you know, he was able to reclaim previous quarterly and then start to print, you know, current quarterly looks pretty bullish. So if render, you're either looking for a pullback towards like 190, that's probably where I'd be looking, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and just set the alerts actually. I probably would want to buy the dip in that region. What up in Silico Terminal? Pops in right when I say that I'm using their platform. Classic. Classic Schiller. Pepe and Aptos are hell of a counterplay, brother GG's. I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but I haven't looked at Aptos in a long time. I traded the shit out of Aptos at the beginning of the year, and I've been ignoring it for a long time. Yeah, I mean, Aptos looks like garbage still, right? Overall. Delete these comps. Aptos is incredible for you know, for educational purposes though, right? You know, the number one, the big booty bottom structure, and number two, the distribution, the Hasaka bleed distribution. I'll give him credit for it. You know, Aptos should be studied from a schematic standpoint until like July. Now it doesn't really matter so much, but the uptrend and the immediate downtrend on this thing are schematic worthy. VWAP settings, it's just, I just use yearly, quarterly, monthly, daily, or weekly, daily, and then one standard deviation from that. That's how the VWAPs are set up. Thoughts on the Dixie? I don't trade I don't chart or pay attention to the dollar index. It's not my thing. Thoughts on rolling value area high, value area low POC? Yeah, I mean, I don't use rolling anything, so I don't really have a good answer for you on that. I use time-based and anchored only for everything. So I don't have a good answer for you on rolling, just because it's just not something I've ever used. I've tested rolling a little bit in the past, but I don't really have any interest in using it. It just didn't sync up for me very well. So sorry, man, I don't have a good answer for you. BNB, we can look at BNB. BNB, you know, definitely in a pretty rough trend. It's below it's like testing its yearly open as resistance right now. BNB has very significant resistance where it's trading up into right now. So, you know, it's hard to be optimistic on this one. Personally, I would love it if BNB looked like this instead, you know, had nice bullish structure, because when BNB is risk on, it means the entire market's pretty risk on for the most part. But, yeah, I mean, definitely BNB still looks pretty rough, pretty bearish structuring overall. One along Sui, but it looks weak.
mean, yeah, so he's definitely in a pretty rough bear trend here. And could be VWAP's bearish, previous quarterly bearish, current quarterly is even bearish. I mean, most coins have more of a bullish looking quarterly than this. So I'm not saying this won't trade up in the near term. It probably will, but it's not one that I would pick. Hi Magus, first of all, thanks for all the free material you give to us peasants. Yeah, you don't need to call yourself a peasant, my guy, but thank you. Question: when trading, how much how often much do you look at the BTC pairs for tokens you're about to trade? Never anymore. A long time ago, it used to be really common for everybody to trade BTC pairs. I just look at USDT now, I just look at dollar pairs only. I don't care at all about. I don't care at all about the BTC pairs anymore. Theoretically, they could have their use cases. So I'm not saying that they're completely useless, but I just don't use them. I like to simplify my shit, guys. Over time, I use less and less tools and less stuff. Has your trading changed at all from pre-Paragon to post-Paragon? That's an interesting question, Jonas. Yeah, I would say it probably has, in the sense, I mean, the Paragon's been live for over 2 years now, so, 2 years of more experience, and, contrary to what people might think, when you're learning, or when you're teaching things, a lot of times you're actually going to learn in the process. So I actually learn a lot as I teach, because the process of explaining things makes me rethink stuff, and I do learn in the process. So the main thing I would say with how the group has changed my trading is it's helped me to simplify stuff, because when I explain things, it helps me to really solidify my grasp on and view on things, and then from there helps me to simplify stuff, because that's one of the things I'm always trying to push on everybody, is that overcomplication is a recipe for disaster. You want to learn complicated subjects and approach them in a simplistic way. So that's a good question, Jonas. But yeah, the Paragon has helped me to simplify my own trading more and more. My higher time frame stuff, I used to overcomplicate my swing trading a lot, and nowadays it's pretty simple. Scalping is still a little bit complicated, but that's just how it goes. Word up, the real show is the indicators, but they have been rather accurate over the past few months. Word up. I gotta know who's running the Insilico account, because I've never been more confident that it's not Tripper than right now saying word up. CFX. Yeah, I haven't looked at CFX in a while. CFX. I've ignored this coin for a very long time. I mean, it kind of blasted through its quarterly. Jeez, it's up 33%. It's up off Long's opening too. Long's closing out. I mean, this thing will probably keep trading up higher. Its structuring is pretty disgusting, if I'm being real, right? It's got very weak bear structure on high time frame, but overall it looks pretty decent. Or excuse me, not overall, it looks pretty decent. In the immediate term, it will probably continue to trade up, but in the higher time frame, it looks like hot garbage still. So, like I see Finn saying it's been lovely to scalp. Yeah, if you're playing lower time frame stuff on this, yeah, I'm sure it's awesome, but higher time frame, this thing is gonna exhaust at some point and, probably look like this again, right, where it goes down again, if I had to guess. Again, I really like to identify strong trends, and as a really good example, guys. I mean, look at this trend from May till now, just relentless structural uptrend. This is what you want to look for trends. The problem with Ant is that it's a really low liquidity, low volume coin, so that's the downside to this one. Any guide to volume profile? I have YouTube videos where I cover it, so I would just probably look through my YouTube videos or my pinned tweet on my channel or on my my Twitter. How about Ape Fest? I don't know what to tell you on that one, man. Ape Fest, you know, to each their own. If you want to go to that, I would definitely have zero interest in going to Ape Fest. Bored Ape culture seems pretty cringe to me, to be honest. Applied to Paragon membership yesterday. Won't like get the invite link. You'll get it in like 6 days, assuming you did the Google form sign up. That's what it sounds like based off what you just said there. So you should you'll get your invite on the 1st of November. So it reminds me of World Before the Pump. It could be. Finish speaking in code. I have no idea what you're saying. You're just making stuff up that's not even a real language. Can you explain, if you can explain something in simple terms, the more you learn yourself, that's great. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because, you know, I definitely, the only things that I teach are things that I feel very confident that I understand properly. However, in order to explain them, it means you need to explain them simply so people can understand them. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely helped me, you know, as I'm teaching people, it helps me to learn myself actually, which is a crazy thing. Never really thought about that, but it's been a weird byproduct. The biggest pumps are coming from coins that have terrible structure, relief pumps, etc. Don't you think using structuring as a filter misses out on those trades? Yeah, it could be, but I don't really, you know, I'm not really worried about missing out on trades, right? So, tell me when we let's go to CFX. Tell me what you could have used to catch this trade. Oh, hacker mode. What could you have used to catch this trade? What, right? How are you going to catch this trade? My system is to play continuation, so I'm going to look for things that have strong structure and play continuation since the market's overall bullish right now. That's how I'm going to approach it. But if you have a way to catch this long, then do it. I'm just saying I'm not interested in doing that. I theoretically could by using flow, but I don't want to scan a billion charts. I want to filter my charts down and only have to pay attention to a few, right? Like I'm basically only going to pay attention to these strong charts for the most part, and then maybe the scalp coins. This list should be scam coins. So Zen, I mean, I don't disagree with you. It's a good take in a sense, but I'm not interested in it, right? Because I don't want to trade I'm not trying to trade every coin that exists. And I'm not worried at all about missing things, right? I've been trading a long time. I don't care if I miss a trade, miss a pump. I do not care. I can assure you of this. What's your view on the current market situation? Is it a trap based off traditional markets tanking? Bitcoin isn't pumping. I mean, I would say rewind the VOD back and watch at the beginning of the video. TLDR is, I think that the market, crypto will probably continue to trade up, and it's, Bitcoin's probably going to top out, in the not so distant future and make another lower high, I'd imagine, or higher low, excuse me. Are your CS hotkeys the same as in Silico? No, they're definitely not. I use the number pad for trading in Silico, and I use keys to the left of my keyboard for Counter-Strike. I just think like my flashbang keybind is Z. Imagine if my flashbang was like market buy. Even I am not autistic enough for that one. Almost long CFX yesterday, pre-pump on the basis that the top 5 coins in China. That's a pretty good reason to buy something if the market's bullish. To buy the Asian coins. That's alpha. appreciate that. Just curious on your thoughts as I think it through myself. Yeah, I mean, no problem, dude. I just, you know, you're gonna. It's mentally exhausting to. There's hundreds of perpetual contracts. If you're trying to trade all of them, it's mentally exhausting, and you're probably more likely to just miss everything. So I like to filter and isolate stuff, right? So I isolate by activity and structuring, right? The things that have strong structuring, I pay attention to. The things that have a lot of activity, right? The things that are doing a lot of volume and have a lot of trades going through, I pay attention to that. So basically everything else out is going to get, missed, and I'm okay with that. I like to, again, structure and activity are my filtering methods. Good morning, hologram. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here pretty soon, because I do have a lot of stuff I need to get done today, and I do need to evaluate some positions and potentially do some trading later today. So if you have any last minute questions or anything, definitely throw them in the chat and I'll get them answered before I go. If you do me a favor, please click that like button to help us out with the YouTube algorithm. We only have 64 likes. I would appreciate if you guys would press some more likes. Stop leaking me alpha. Sometimes I give stuff away too easily. Stay hydrated out there, lads. Press that like button, or else. I just love the bot responses to my Twitter posts. It's my favorite thing about going on the Twitter is having bots spam every post that I ever put out. Love that. Favorite car? Huh. Not really a car guy. I have an old truck. I'm not the kind of guy that just because you get some money goes and buys shit. So I drive a 20-year-old Ford truck. Favorite car? To be honest, at some point I've already come pretty close to pulling the trigger on a Porsche, so I'll probably buy a Porsche one day. Have you ever streamed yourself scalping either here or the Paragon? I definitely haven't done it at all on YouTube. I've only done like 4 YouTube streams. I think I did on my Twitch channel at one point a long time ago, and most of the time when I do scalping stuff in the Paragon, I just record the video and let Lear edit it down for me, because a scalping session is hours long normally. Nobody wants to sit there and watch me for hours. People want the condensed version. Magus Top G, thank you. Is your standard deviation cloud on the daily, or it's on every time frame, right? So I mean, this is the daily right here. This is the daily, and then you can see the weekly as well, right? I mean, if we go to this chart, this is the yearly with the bands. This is the quarterly with standard deviation, the weekly, the monthly. So I use all of them. Arrived just to say goodbye. Later, hologram. Class act. Thanks, man. Yeah, if you have any questions about the Paragon, just DM me. Claps wildly. I gotta know who runs this account now, because you're too like nice and positive for the terminal branding. Trucks are great. Yeah, definitely. Get the 911. Yeah, that is definitely one of the ones I was looking at. I'm not gonna lie, I actually used to have a couple of different vehicles, and I actually sold a lot of stuff off. I used to have a truck, a car, and a Jeep Wrangler, and I sold my sedan and my Jeep just because I don't need multiple vehicles, and I drive like twice a week anyway, so having 3 vehicles was a bit much. So I sold my Jeep, and then I donated my Volvo sedan, and now I just have the truck. Did I join at the end of the stream? It appears so. We're wrapping it up here. For Raptors, insanely good. Yeah, they're fucking expensive though. They didn't have the Raptors. I have an F-150. My truck is old, but I love it, man. You know, all these modern cars, I'm gonna boomer it up for a second. All these modern cars have all these fucking computers and all these stupid chips and parts and stuff. My truck is entirely mechanical. When it breaks, I actually understand what's wrong with it, you know? Whereas opposed to if you have like a modern vehicle, like you have no fucking idea what's wrong with it. They can scam the shit out of you when you need repairs. Was on a meeting, didn't see the notification the stream was showing up. Yeah, I mean, just watch the VOD, my guy. Thanks for showing up, though. I'm late, but here. Better late than never. I drive a Nissan truck and a BMW. Damn, swagging it. Big swag. Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy a sports car at some point, but I've been procrastinating it for a very long time. Jeep Wrangler is one of my favorites. Yeah, not gonna lie, I really like. It was like not one of these modern 4-door ones. It was the OG 2-door. I bought it for nostalgia purposes, and it just had no. I don't have the space because I only have a 2-car garage. So having 3 cars meant one of my vehicles had to sit in my driveway all the time, and it just didn't make sense to have multiple vehicles. It was just a total waste. So. You trade FX? Negative. Do you have a video on how to draw composites? I've definitely covered it on streams at some point. I can't really think of a video off the top of my head for the public. It's probably in one of my videos somewhere. Zoomer cars are worse than boomer cars, confirmed. Jeep Wrangler is great, pretty expensive. Well, I'm not talking about like a modern one. Like mine was a 1991. So it was the OG. Does it improve your trading to have stable income in the Paragon? No. I don't have stable income from the Paragon, guys. Like, contrary to probably what you believe, I don't even pay myself from that. I haven't taken a single dollar from the Paragon all year long. So, it doesn't affect me at all because I don't pay myself. I don't want the tax burden, and I'd rather just like I normally just give the money away, honestly. Pay the employees. I do it because I like it. And I think I do it because I enjoy it, and because if I keep grinding at it, it eventually could be a big business in the future. What's the workout for the day? Shoulders and back and traps today. But to go back to Jonas's question, because I do think it's a really good question, having a stable income is important for most traders. I went into trading already being pretty financially stable. You know, I worked a corporate job, and I had been lucky with some of the things that had gone on in my life, so I already had a decent amount of capital before I traded. But for most of you having a stable income is going to help your trading a lot, because if you're trading to survive, you're going to do poorly. If you're trading because you like trading, you're going to do better. It's a really good question from Jonas, honestly. Friend had a 50-year anniversary one, matte black, so cool, but impractical as a sole vehicle. Be nice for mountain surf trips, etc. Yeah. Damn, 50-year anniversary, matte black. Oh, so that means it's like a modern one then. Interesting. I'd have to Google that to see what it looked like. Matte black probably looks fucking clean on that though, honestly. Is there a way to look at market profile CBD TPO for traditional markets, FX, and equities? I don't think that kind of logic works for FX, but definitely works for equities. You know, I probably would say use Sierra for that, or even just TradingView. But yeah, it definitely works for equities. I would not recommend it for FX, so I don't think it would work. Tom Emmer, I don't know how to say it, who is super pro Bitcoin, is probably going to be the next Speaker of the House. Interesting. I don't pay attention to politics at all. I find that I'm a lot happier when I just ignore these kind of things. Ignorance is bliss, my friends. All right, everybody. I'm going to wrap it up there for the day. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to get some work done. Probably hit the gym and then maybe play some Counter-Strike later. I might fuck around and stream some CS on Twitch. Maybe some of you guys want to watch that. I'm not like pro level or anything, but I'm definitely better than most people at the game. But anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully we learned something. Hopefully we got some sort of valuable insight potentially. And I'm out of here. I'll see you guys next week. Later, everybody.